Today on Locked on Rockies, a big debut on Sunday, another debut on the way. Is it going to change the 2025 season for the Colorado Rockies?
You are Locked on Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked on Rockies podcast for today, the 7th day of April in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked on Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked on Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day. Free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, and bringing you all sorts of great Rockies talk, Rockies content right here on the Locked on Podcast Network. And again, if you want to be part of the show, if you want to fire off your Rockies hot takes, you want to let me know what's on your mind, head on over to the Locked on Rockies YouTube channel and find the comment section. Fire off your Rockies hot takes. Let me know what's on your mind. We definitely are always reading those comments, wanting to hear from you, the Rockies fan, as we are going through, of course, an interesting start, but it just got a lot more exciting over the weekend, and we're going to dive into that. Before we dive into everything, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. All right, so going into Sunday, right, or really before the weekend started, it was kind of in a bleak spot, right? The Rockies tie the franchise's worst start after Saturday's loss. German Marquez gives up 6 walks. It's just, and snowing on the ground. It's cold offense. It's been nothing short of kind of a disaster for the Colorado Rockies to start the season. When you're talking especially on offense, where before Sunday's finale against the Oakland Athletics, or not Oakland, whoopsie, it slipped. The Athletics. The Rockies were just, I mean, at the end of Saturday's game, and mind you, I didn't have a chance to watch much on Saturday, so I didn't actually see a lot of the game on Saturday. It just looked kind of like at the end of the game on Saturday, I just kind of felt like, well, I mean, this is it. This is 2025. Your starters aren't always going to be good. German Marquez comes out after the game, says he's never had the experience of pitching so cold that he can't grip or feel the ball. I think that'll probably be a factor into walking 6 batters in that game. Your offense hasn't scored more than 4 runs and has only done that twice in the first 10 days of the season. And it just, and the strikeouts and everything else, I mean, it just looked like, okay, well, we're just rehashing, redoing, repurposing 2024 with a cheaper payroll and some less, in some areas, some less exciting names. But then on the flip side, Sunday rolls around, right? Chase Dollander comes up. He again, not perfect, but successful. Strikeouts. People hit home runs against him at course. That's going to happen. I mean, that's plain and simple. That's going to happen. But on the flip side, the offense wakes up, and it shows you what's possible when Doyle 3-hit day, bunch of RBIs, Tovar locked in doing damage, Chris Bryant getting in on the offense yesterday with a couple of knocks, and lots more. I mean, we were shown yesterday that there is offense potential here. Again, it's one of the A's weaker pitchers, but that's going to be the situation. That's going to happen a couple of times, and that has happened throughout some of the start of the season. The end of the Phillies game, you were just looking at all these Phillies fans that we're connected with here. They're all worried about Walker there to finish the series, and it's the same old song and dance. That breakout is important. That breakout, I think, hopefully will shake some of the mental block that the Rockies have been facing in the beginning of the year, and hopefully start kickstarting them a little bit and getting them ready to go up against a team that, while pitching is usually a strength, and they are a good team and have bounced back considerably, they gave up a lot of offense in a hitter-friendly ballpark, the Milwaukee Brewers, in their first series of the year. Mixed in with all of this, of course, is the news that Jordan Beck gets optioned to AAA, and Zach Veen, who was demolishing the minors to start this season, is getting the call up. So here's where it is time to give credit where credit is due, because this podcast today originally was going to be a lot more frustrating and a lot more about the decisions to retain the coaching staff and retain the same mentality and retain the status quo for the Rockies. But they did announce that they're promoting Zach Veen, and that is enough at least to buy a little bit of time here to say, okay, we wanted to see Dollander and Veen on the team to start the season. We didn't get that, but we're seeing it less than 3 weeks into the season. We're seeing it in a time where Zach Veen is performing well and can come up and be on this team. And if he continues to perform, be the spark plug and the energy that needs to kickstart this Rockies team to start turning this thing around and getting it into a better spot. Credit where credit is due here. The Rockies coaching staff and the Rockies organization said, okay, we took the lumps. We saw what we started with. We cannot ignore Veen. Why? What are we going to do? Why not waste? And why waste? A good quality Dollander innings? Let's do it. And we'll see how it's going to pan out. As again, wasn't perfect for Chase in that first start. Who knows what it'll be for Veen? And we'll see if he gets to start tomorrow because it's an off day today. But the fact of the matter is, they made the changes, right? They made the calls. They made they're making the commitment. Ideally, we'll see with Veen, but I don't think they're going to send Chase down after one start. I think they're going to put him in that fifth spot in the rotation now with the news that Austin Gomber still, it's a little up in the air. It's not looking like it's going to be. It's not exactly where they want to be with Austin Gomber. So this is a nice time for Chase to come up and get a few starts here in the interim while Austin Gomber it comes back. And that'll enter an interesting spot too. What are you going to do with Austin Gomber? If Chase is performing, do you start getting creative with Gomber and moving him up or moving him maybe into a bullpen type role along a middle relief type role? I think people might be pretty intrigued and pretty happy with, just to see Chase get some starts while we figure out with Gomber. And some might even be intrigued to see what Gomber might be able to do to help out this bullpen, maybe be someone that could add it there. Now, there's, of course, the factor of I don't think Austin Gomber is probably going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, I want to be in the bullpen. I'm sure he still very much considers him a starter and has shown that he can still start and things. But if Chase is doing well, getting you the starts, and the Rockies still need kind of that middle, that bullpen help to help get through the middle of ball games and give you another option for a long relief guy in there, might not be the worst idea. But the point is, at least we can say they made the call, right? I mean, and of course, Beck's probably frustrated, and we still are seeing Martini a good bit here so far this year. But right now, we're at least seeing the Rockies not ignore one of their top prospects tearing it up in the minors and coming up here to make a huge difference. Because maybe I shouldn't get ahead of myself, but I do go back to the energy thing here. When the Rockies have started the season, I've been looking for the guy that's going to be the guy that kind of, again, the performance on the field is one thing, but it's bringing a level of energy and excitement into the clubhouse and the dugout that I don't think the Rockies have really had in these down years. They've had a couple of guys. They've had they've had the veteran leader of Charlie Blackmon and what he brings. But I'm talking about a young, youthful, high energy guy like Zach Veen, the purple hair, someone that's going to come in and really go up and we're probably going to see Veen be in situations, maybe be too aggressive, too exciting. Maybe the nerves might get to him a couple of times here during this stint with the Rockies. But I still think the Rockies are adding something that they haven't had. No one, I mean, again, there's a lot of good ball players, and we know the clubhouse of the Rockies is tight. We've heard that a lot, that the clubhouse environment of the Rockies is always one of the good things. But look at the starting lineups that the Rockies have had lately and point to me a guy that brings high energy, a lot of energy, brings energy on the field, brings energy in the box, brings energy in the clubhouse. I don't think that's a lot. I don't think anyone really on the Rockies starting roster screams that role. Veen, on the other hand, does. And if you've listened to the podcast long enough, you know another guy that I really do think highly of, and I really do value the vibes and the energy that they brought to the team, was Gerardo Parra. These guys matter. Vibes and energy guys matter. I know how crazy that is to kind of say for some people, where you're like, I'm watching the Rockies and they've won twice. I don't care about vibes. I want to see performance. I want to see wins. Go out and do your job. I understand that. But teams and team sports and baseball teams, especially in the baseball season, it's weird. There's a lot of personalities. There's a lot of ups and downs. You need people that can keep it fun and energetic and loose. And I think that not only bringing up Zach Veen, but bringing up Chase, bringing up and really looking at this Rockies roster and saying, these are young guys. These are young. There's a lot of young guys in here ready to make some noise. And what I really like too about the possible about the promotions here and letting these guys play, if that's what they do, we'll see. Again, we got to make sure that Veen's getting on the field, but Beck has gotten on the field. Bouchard's come in a couple of times as well. We have seen a lot of Nick Martini in terms of startings, but again, it hasn't been completely, it hasn't been an overload where we've barely seen Beck and Bouchard. Of course, we want to see those guys more, but now you're bringing up guys that can help kind of bring some new life and new energy into the clubhouse here after a bad start, mixed with you have really important young guys that can work with two young guys that are in the midst of hopefully a big season for them. I think having young Rockies players be with and watch Ezekiel Tovar and Brenton Doyle as much as possible is going to help them. Two guys that came up, especially Tovar. Doyle a little bit older in terms of years, but not experience-wise getting there. But being able to work with those guys, being able to see their journey, being able to talk to those guys about what it's been like to be in this environment and go through the struggles of the last two seasons and where it's at and where they don't want to be, that's where you can really start building that behind-the-scenes type of stuff, that behind-the-scenes excitement there for the Rockies and the young guys. Is it going to change anything drastically? I don't know. I mean, as much as we talk about things, I guess, you know what? Let's take a break, and then I'll expand on that. Because vibes and everything are cool and all, but the bad start for the Rockies has a lot more to do with just hanging out in the clubhouse and being buddies with each other. Let's talk about that coming up next here on today's episode of Locked on Rockies. First, we got to talk about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Just Ingredients. When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients is also partnered with two-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. I was traveling over the weekend, and before I went to the airport, I decided, you know what? I didn't want to overspend at the airport. I didn't have time, really. I mean, a long flight, too, so going to be in the air for a while when I didn't have any food. So what did I do? Had myself a Just Ingredients protein shake, and that was exactly what I needed. My body felt great. I didn't feel sluggish. I didn't feel like I just burnt a hole in my wallet spending $1 million at the airport restaurants there. They got me where I needed to go with wholesome, nourishing ingredients without the artificial junk. And whether you're recovering after a workout or need an energy boost, their grass-fed whey protein and pre-workout deliver real results. JustIngredients.us, that's where you want to go. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. And for more wellness tips, just follow at Justin.ingredients on Instagram. Remember, visit justingredients.us and use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. Locked On Rockies back at you here for segment number 2 of today's episode. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel where you can be part of the show. Just like Sam, who says, I've been a huge fan of the show. I listen every day. I finally figured out how to comment. Paul, it's been a dark start. I think about leaving, but your show is too good. Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. Do you ever feel like Chris Bryant is coach's son and is in the lineup, but we all needs to be on the bench? I think we all need one episode where you talk about everything positive, even if it's a few pitches. Talk the boys up, even though we are down. Well, let's do that here. I mean, I kind of want to put the cloud. I mean, let's at least acknowledge the cloud here, because going into this game and going into the finale there, the vibes were probably at one of the worst, if not the worst, for starts. I mean, maybe last year when you're looking at the fact that the Rockies were losing so poorly, they constantly were trailing games. Maybe that's the thing. But I guess what we can look at and say is Sunday, the finale against the A's, that's more in line of where we expected the Rockies, the potential for the Rockies. And I spent a lot of the time talking about vibes and energy there in that first part, but this is where you start kickstarting things here. This is where you start trying to make a little bit more noise and start waking yourself up a little bit. If you really, I mean, if you want to keep it in the smaller sizes, you still have a chance of fighting your way back closer to 500 at this point in the season. I mean, unfortunately, the rest of the division is, off to an insane start. And so you're not going to be able to take the small joy of ever leading the NL West this year. But let's just focus on being 500. And let's just focus on, look at what happens when the offense is rolling yesterday and when the Rockies are able, and when these guys are able to see the ball well and hit. They can score. This offense does have run scoring potential. Yesterday shows you that, man, we've had a little bit of qualms and questions and things here with Brendan Doyle at the leadoff. But man, look at all that damage he can do. And man, don't you like seeing him in the batter's box as much as you do as well. Mixed with the fact that Ezekiel Tovar comes in and has a big day doing what he does, knocking around doubles. And of course, Chris Bryant, first RB. I mean, it took a while and all that there, but we saw Chris Bryant contribute in the heart of the order yesterday in a big spot. Everybody getting on base. Hunter Goodman coming up. I mean, again, scuffling since carrying the offense a bit there, but late in the game, only one that didn't get a hit. Boom, big hit, drives in some runs, and the Rockies do take advantage of and get after some lower level talent. That's the thing there. I mean, that's, I think, the worst thing here that stunk over the weekend. And let's be real here. There is the added element, and you should be the team that thrives in this, so that this doesn't let them off the hook. The weather sucked. I mean, let's be real. Friday and Saturday, the weather was awful. It's cold. It's miserable. It's not the best time. This offense hopefully can look like it does on Sunday when it's warmer more often. That also means the opposing offense can do the same. But that's a huge finish to that game yesterday. Because to plate 5 in the 8th, after things were kind of teeter-tottering and you were looking at the Rockies were sitting pretty there, scoring in 4 straight innings yesterday as well. But it's like, they pulled, as soon as a couple of runs started getting across, the Rockies lead was pretty big at that point. But in the back of your mind, you're just kind of sitting there the whole time. You're like, is this enough? Is this enough? Is 7 runs really going to be enough for the Rockies? And then to just go out and plate that huge 5 spot, that's awesome. That's exactly what you're looking to do and do the damage there. Brendan Doyle, of course, leaving the yard for the first time. And let's not forget that this Rockies pitching staff came up and was very effective yesterday, even with the long balls and a couple of earned runs given up by Chase and Victor there in that. The Rockies struck out, let's see, quick math, 13 batters, 13 strikeouts for the Rockies pitching staff yesterday. Awesome work. Few walks there, but man, Jake Bird, we were talking about the Rockies, bullpen struggles, right? We're talking about the bullpen being a problem. Jake Bird comes in here and dominates for 2 innings, no hits, 5 strikeouts. I mean, when was it felt like he was going to be approaching on some sort of a Rockies record right there. And mixed with that, offense starts rolling, and unfortunate luck for Luis Peralta yesterday as well. Is they took him out, and said, I'm trying to remember what it was that sounded like he was sore, precautionary. Don't waiting to just see how kind of some stuff pans out to see if there's anything big to worry about it. But it sounded like it was more of a precautionary. Let's get you checked out. You just took a huge screamer off the back, and that probably hurt. Let's get that figured out type of moment for the Rockies. But again, it wasn't like where the first win for the Rockies, their only other win of the season, where it kind of felt lucky, right? It felt like we knew the Rockies defense was good, but we didn't think it was, we didn't know it was going to be that good and be able to be that efficient to help the Rockies there. Mixed with the fact that the Rockies scored only 2 runs to win that ball game. But when you're talking about looking for a vibe changing win or losing streak busting moment that could change the early season vibes and feelings and just the early season start for the Rockies, it could be Sunday's game. The breakout on offense, the promotion of 2 exciting young prospects, 2 guys at the top of the order that have big days that are going to be key to your offense, mixed with the fact that you got production from McMahon. You got production from Chris Bryant. You got production from Hunter Goodman. You got a base knock from Michael Toglia. Tyler Freeman picking up a base knock and an RBI there, of course. So it was good to see that Rockies offense come alive. But here's at least the reminder here, and here's at least the reality check of this. Not only do you have the Brewers, who are a good team and bounced back against the Reds after their I mean, I'd argue the Brewers might be one of the teams that want to leave the opening week of the season behind more than just about any team. But you got the Brewers, and then you go on a California road trip. Padres, Dodgers, your first taste of the NL West, and 2 teams that have been dominant to start the year. So now is the time to start getting yourself, if you've really changed the vibes, if you've broken the slumps, if you've awakened the offense, we better see it against the Brewers, and we better see it consistently, because again, my biggest thing that I've said time and time again on the show, consistency. So it was exciting. It was great to see Sunday happen. It was great to see the offense come alive and avoid the sweep. But let's not ignore the other losses and the other lead up to that game and how the Rockies have been this season. I hope it's a breakout, but it's going to get a lot more difficult here with another slate of the next 3 series being against good teams and 2 out of the 3 of those series being on the road. Let's take a quick break, put a bow on this episode here for this edition of Locked On Rockies. There's nothing better than heading to the ballpark and catching an MLB game live. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of the ballpark food. And if you're looking to go last minute, Gametime makes getting tickets even easier than ever. With last minute deals, all in pricing, and the lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket price drops as Gametime gets closer, meaning you can get an incredible deal. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On, and as the Rockies got the Brewers in town, you can count on Gametime to help you grab tickets throughout the week here for this first homestand of the season. Maybe you're like, back and forth. We'll have a spontaneous game night. You can get tickets last second for unbeatable prices, and you're going to know exactly where you're going to sit because you can preview your exact seat before purchasing. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast for free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanking you for making us your first listen of the day. Remember, Locked On MLB is a great second listen. You got Locked On Fantasy Baseball. We got a lot of great new shows too. MLB Game Night, that's a new one over there on Locked On MLB. There's a lot of really great content on the Locked On Podcast Network. If you got a sport in mind, if you want more baseball coverage, well, we got you covered across the we got you covered. All right. Basically, the point that I kind of want, I guess it's such a weird spot, right? Because I can't ignore how bad the start has been for the Rockies. I can't ignore how upfront all of the issues that frustrate us about the Rockies, have frustrated in the past about the Rockies, are still on display. But you can look at Sunday and you can look at the promotion of Veen, and we have to see how it pans out, and we can look at it and see of a possible turning point here. It's a moment where we said, okay, the Rockies acknowledge that Veen is literally having 4-hit days, torching the minor leagues, while their offense is scuffling and doing nothing, and they're looking for a solution. It's not an immediate promotion, and Veen's going to have immediate success. We know that. But it's the fact that the Rockies reflected on how it's been going, and they've opted to do something differently. They didn't double down. They didn't go at this. They said, you know what? We're in a spot here where there's an opportunity for two of our top prospects to come and show us what they can do at the major league level, to prove that their springs weren't just flukes, to prove that they're ready to go. They went with their number 1 overall prospect and had him start with very little time in the minor leagues, but I'm not against that. Especially right now, why not see it? What's there to lose by Chase getting some starts here as Austin Gomber gets healthy? And then really it's like, if Chase gets some bumps and bruises along the way, that's a learning moment, and it's not like the Rockies have to stick to it. They can bring Gomber in. Chase can go back and get some more time to develop, but he's seen what it takes, because spring is always different, right? This is the regular season. This is the real deal. This is pitching at Coors. Don't matter if it's 32 degrees or 96 degrees. You don't hit your spots, they're going to hit the ball, and it's going to go far. And Chase learned that yesterday. 6 strikeouts, awesome stuff, but hey, my pitches weren't where they needed to be against big bats, and those big bats did damage. And now the same thing with Veen. If you have maturity concerns, talk about a mature answer. Said, was not happy about starting the year in the minor leagues, and instead of that letting that impact him, instead of that making him dwell on that, instead of having him fester and be frustrated by that, no, he says he took that as a challenge and says, all right, I'm going to force you. I'm going to force you to make me to bring me up to the majors by being incredible in the minor leagues to start this year. And that's what he did. And the Rockies paid attention to that as well. So will it pan out? Will it change the season? Will it change the start to the season? Time still will tell. The jury still very much out on that. But at least we can talk about a pulse being back. We can at least talk about the Rockies kind of getting hit with a shock paddle, a defibrillator on this season with these promotions. And so we'll see how it ends up panning out. But I think at least we can sit here and say, okay, I'm a little more intrigued. Because if they didn't make those moves, the Rockies just squeak out a win on Sunday, and the Brewers come to town with a California road trip on the way. I think a lot of people are kind of sitting there pulling their collars and saying, I might be done. I mean, because it's been a tough start to the season. And I'm really glad that today's episode got to be more about looking at a possible turnaround than just focusing on the fact of the strikeouts, the lack of offense, and the issues that were plaguing the Rockies over the first 10 games of the season. Folks, that is going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, and you can fire off your Rockies hot takes and let me know what's on your mind in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. Head on over there. Let me know what's on your mind and how you are feeling about the promotions here of Dollander and Veen, and how you're feeling about the Rockies so far. Thanks again for making us your first listen of the day. For your second listen of the day, go check out our pal Sully on Locked On MLB. Or if you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, Locked On Nuggets, and Locked On Buffs. All free and streaming and available on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.